Leave it in that room, because I usually come in 5 or 6 minutes early
Uh,
and do this every morning. So,
and I can't find mine.
oh,
I
well,
moved
find
it
it and
to
then
a
leave it in
secret
that room.
location.
Okay.
You can also just use a big stick too. Just pound down your side. You can,
I know,
seriously.
but it's not as much. It's not as easy.
It's a little rougher,
It's
but
a little rougher.
good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning.
So this morning we're going to do our beginning exercises like we always do in the facial exercises, and then I think we're going to do at least a partial set of Fang Gong, which are the relaxation exercises. Jill, I think you have done all those before, yes? Right. And Genevieve, I don't think you have. Fang
It,
Gong, does that sound familiar?
I know the ones we did in advanced Qigong. I don't know any new ones that you taught this week.
Okay, well, I don't think we've got any new ones. So if you've gone through the advanced Qigong ones, then you will recognize these. And we're not going to do the whole set. I think we'll just do the first three or four. sounds like an old blues song. The rebounders got my head so sore. I think Billie Holiday did that. time of year. So let's do a few exercises from the Fang Zhongong series. But before we get going, I'm going to say a few words. There are two aspects to reality, or two dimensions to reality. We don't really have the right words for it. The relative world and the absolute. the relative and the absolute. The relative world is the world that we live in. It's the three-dimensional world of time and change. And because there is time and change, sometimes there's a lot of change, and it's very difficult. Our pain comes from those changes, not all of which are, for us individually or even collectively, are they good changes. They're difficult. And it's actually impossible to find an antidote to all that change and disruption and craziness in the relative world, because you're trying to use something relative to fix something that's also relative. So it's like trying to use change to fix change. It's just not theoretically possible. So wise men and women all through history on every continent have discovered their own ways of touching on the absolute. And that can happen through religion. It can happen through philosophy. It can just happen for you personally. Everybody's got little things where they touch on the absolute. And when you touch on that, you're touching on something that is not in the relative world, that is not in time and does not change. And because it's not in time and does not change, it actually affords you a real ground. It's the ground that we all actually stand on all the time. We just don't see it. If you can touch on that, it doesn't make the difficult things go away, but it gives you some grounding and centering and some relief from the distress of the relative world. And our relative world right now is going through massive changes. Maybe in a way, the most massive change in human history. So it's very difficult. I don't know about you guys, but I was talking with Annie last night. It's hard. It just gets to you. Now you can say what gets to you, well, is this headline or that headline, and all that's true, but that's not really the issue. The issue's deeper than that. It's just feeling like you've got nothing to stand on. Like the sand is being washed out from underneath your feet. And the reason you feel that way is because the sand is being washed out from underneath your feet. And it's difficult. It's even traumatic. For a lot of folks, it's truly going to be traumatic, maybe for all of us. So finding a way to touch on the absolute can really help you stay centered and relatively calm. It's very healing. In the Chinese tradition, that absolute is called the Tao. The Tao that can be spoken is not the real Tao. You can't describe it. You can't put any words to it. So they just call it the Tao. And the Tao is a word that means the way, like a path through the woods. That's the Tao. It's just the way you walk. And ultimately in Tai Chi and Qigong, you're doing a lot of things. You're working on your health, and maybe you're working on self-defense. What you're really working on is finding the Tao in your motions, and just giving some time to practicing the Tao. So when you do Fang Zhong Gong, don't let your mind run away anywhere. Mine sometimes does. Stay focused on how it feels physically when you do this. There's something really solid about that. And if it feels good, enjoy it. Right? So normally we start with a cleansing exercise. So let's go ahead and do the cleansing exercise, and then followed by 3 charging exercises, like you're charging up your iPhone. And what you're charging are 3 of your dantians. Your upper dantian in the 3rd eye, the middle dantian, the dantian proper, and the lower dantian at the perineum, the root chakra. So the crown chakra, the 3rd chakra right below the navel, and the root chakra at the base of the spine. Gathered chi. Breathe it into your 3rd eye. Sink it down through your body, all the way down, and then let it wash out the bottom of your feet. And let it pick up any tiredness or stress and just wash it out of the body. close your eyes and look inside down at your Dan Chen. And while you do, I'm going to tell you a story. To find the Tao, to find that sense of grounding or peace, it can really help to have an image of some kind. That image will come up for you personally and spontaneously. You don't have to use anybody else's. But I'm going to tell you mine. Years and years ago, I went up to the Olympic National Forest in the Olympic Peninsula here in Washington. And if you've ever been up the peninsula, much of it has been logged off. So what you see are stumps. Acres and acres and acres and acres of stumps. But the park has not been logged off. And there is a place in the park where the old growth is so huge, it's a lot like the redwoods down in California. It's just enormous trees. And very little light comes through, so it's quite dark in the forest. And it's absolutely silent. Everything on the ground is covered in thick moss. And the trees are very present. When I was standing there, I could feel these beings. And no doubt, most of them were well over 1,000 years old. They were unbelievably enormous. And in the center of this little clearing, there was a little pool of water, maybe 15 feet across, without a ripple on it, absolutely dark. And that's the image that comes to me when I need it to, which is pretty much all the time now. So you may find your own image. They just pop into your mind. Or maybe it's not an image, maybe it's just a feeling. But when you do these exercises, touch on that feeling and carry it with you through these exercises. When I do Fang Zhong Gong and when I do Hunyan Qigong, they are particularly peaceful for me. All the others are too, but these are really, the focus is on them. The only exercise we do that is more peaceful is Jianzhuang meditation itself, which is what we're doing when we're standing here. But you shouldn't be talking, you shouldn't be listening. You should just be looking at your Dan Chen. You should be looking at that still pool in the middle of the forest. let's do one exercise. reverse. And touch the earth. And close your pores. Salute our masters. And salute your classmates. Thank you, everyone. If you're going to stay for Tai Chi, give me 15 minutes. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.